Well, it's about time for another Patreon album request, and I know I'm really bad at these, and I apologize profusely. It's just how my brain works. Whenever somebody tells me to do something, that's usually when I don't. So yeah, a huge thank you as well as a huge thank you as well as a sincere apology to Battery Acid, who donated to me almost a year ago. And so this is his album review. He had me listen to the one that we'll be talking about. And if you want to be cool like Battery Acid, you can head on over to my Patreon. I've left a link below. It's Patreon/Notes Reviews. And so, yeah, let's talk about some underground Australian progressive rock from the 70s. The Fountain Beyond the Sunrise by Kyrie Eleison, and I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Apparently it's Greek for like Mr. what is it? Mr. Eleison. At least that's what comes in when I put in my Google Translate, because I'm trying really good to try to pronounce these guys right. This is what I'm getting.
Kyrie Eleison.
It just sounds funny. Anyway, these guys got their start in the mid to late 70s. They formed in around 19, if the Progressive Rock Archives is to be believed, 1974 in Australia by the keyboardist of Gerald Crample, together with his two friends of Carl Novity on drums and Felix Rancht on guitars. And now they're also being touted as being a little bit of a cross blending between Genesis and Van der Graaf Generator, and I feel that for sure. And even though they got their kind of start in 1974, they didn't really put out their first album until 1976, even though they had, I guess, composed this Blind Willow Suite in 1975. The only album that they really put out was this, The Fountain Beyond the Sunrise, and then the Blind Willow Suite came out much later after being, I guess, sat on for a little bit. Again, that's all the information I have because I've never heard about these guys. And I mean, Progressive Archives is saying that they are an underground Australian progressive rock band that more or less remained underground until now. And this is the first time I've heard about them, so I'm kind of saying that they're still kind of in the underground, if I'm being perfectly honest. So, and this album is also extremely, extremely hard to find. The only place that I could find it was literally on Dailymotion when somebody uploaded the entire album. It's not on Spotify, it's not on YouTube, it's nowhere. With all that preamble, with all that kind of stuff leading us to the actual foundations, what do we have in terms of the music here? Well, it is very similar to that early, like, Trespass and Nursery Crimes era of Genesis, as well as that kind of singing style. I don't know, there's something about this that I'm not really connecting with, if I'm being perfectly honest. I can see the musicianship and I can see the effort, but this also feels like the second wave of progressive rock after all the innovation has already taken place. It does feel a little bit like they're riding the coattails of the masters that came before them. And even within the second wave, which I would include like Van der Graaf Generator and Rush and all those, that were seeing that kind of groundbreaking style of producing music and pushing it still further. I don't feel like Kyrie Eleison did that. I feel like they're still very much hunkering down into that same styles of music that had come like 3 to 5 years previously. Now, the compositions are still very good. There's definitely a lot of that interplay between the guitars and the keyboards. There's a lot of sophistication within this music. You can tell that there's a lot of forethought and thought that's being presented on here. There's a lot more tension as well. There feels like there's a lot more of this going against the grain styles. The songs are a little bit more darker. There's a lot less of a celebration of sounds. So this is more of like Genesis in their more darker tracks, less so than what we would find on Trespass, a little bit more so what we would find on Nursery Crimes. That's kind of the actual style on here. And if I'm being honest, after I've listened to this album a number of times through a number of different seasons, because I sat down and I listened to it last year and I didn't feel connected, so I'm like, okay, I'll put it on the shelf and I'll see if anything else comes about. I picked it up in the fall, and once again, I'm like, I'm not I'm not getting it. There's still something that's missing for me. I'll try it again. I try it again in the winter. Once again, I didn't really feel all that much on it. And so I figured, okay, one more time in the spring to get the full gamut. Maybe I'm just missing the time period. Maybe it's just not connecting with me, because that does happen. You know, the first couple of times you spin a record, it doesn't quite connect. And I really wanted to make sure that I'm giving this the proper due, because I didn't just want to give this album a poor rating because I wasn't connecting with it. But unfortunately, that's kind of where I'm at. The song styles, I still feel, are presenting music that has already been done in a better way by bands previous to them. And I don't feel like they're adding anything new to the musical landscape. I don't feel like they're contributing anything worthwhile. The musical styles are, I can at least say, are interesting. And I can tell there's a lot of like talent behind there. But it might also be the actual raw sound recording that it has, because it's very, like, the sound mixing isn't all that great. It is very underground in that sense, but I always am able to look past that if the music is good enough to elevate it, and I'm still not really feeling all that much on here. So it's a little bit of a shame, because I never like giving a poor review, or at least like a poor rating to an album that a patron of mine has requested me to listen to. So it is a little bit of a shame that I didn't quite connect to it as much as I was hoping to. For me, this one it's kind of wavering between a skip and a stream. It's a stream if you can find it, but I wouldn't go out looking for it. If you stumble across it, give it a go. Like if this was on Spotify, I'd say, yeah, go for it. You know, it's like 45 minutes. You know, what do you have to lose? But because you do have to invest some time to try to find this album, that's where I'm saying it's more of a skip for me rather than a go out and, you know, if you stumble across it, go for it. It's not going to appear in any of your recommendations, that's for sure. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for The Fountain Beyond the Sunrise from Kyrie, Eleison. If you've heard this album, please let me know of your thoughts. Is there an aspect of this album that I'm not quite getting that maybe I overlooked? Let me know about that by commenting down below. And if you have heard of this album, let me know if you loved it. Let me know if you hated it. Let me know if you were indifferent about it. Also by letting me know by commenting down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. A special thank you to Battery Acid for donating to my Patreon and having me listen to this album. It was a very fun challenge, if I'm being honest. You know, like, I didn't hate my time in it. It was just something that I didn't quite connect to, and found it harder to get into this album than I was anticipating. So yeah, so a big thank you to Battery Acid for donating. And if you want to be cool like Battery Acid, head on over to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/notesreviews, and that link is down below for you to check out as well. And that's what I've got. So thank you all for watching. You guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.